And welcome back to Take Action News, everybody. David Shuster here, along with our own We Act Radio's Cliff Schechter. Cliff, thanks again for being part of the program today.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me on, as always, David.
So, Cliff, it was the 10-year anniversary of the Iraq War this past week. When you think about everything that's happened in the world of politics and policy and media and the role that Iraq and that war have played over the past 10 years, what goes through your mind?
You know, and I'm glad you brought this up, David. I think everyone should go over and read. Juan Cole has a fantastic piece on this at juancole.com. You know, I'm sure many people here have read his stuff, What We Did to Iraq, where he goes into what we actually did there over the last 10 years. And it's horrifying. I just dug up a piece I wrote, reminding me how old I am, in 2004 on the Coalition Provisional Authority and Paul Bremer and what he was doing then, and Dan Senior, and how they disbanded the army, so these guys had no money and they ended up going out and joining the insurgency, the de-Baathification, when they threw all these guys who were members of the Ba'ath Party out on the street, so they had nowhere to go but to fight against us. The way the U.S. media was sort of cowed into covering this as, they're just the terrorists fighting against the United States, without looking into the fact that, we displaced what was then a Sunni government and replaced it with Shiites controlling it, who then took revenge on certain members of the Sunni population and allied themselves with Iran. There were Sunni uprisings, there were Shia uprisings. I mean, we created such a mess. What we did there is criminal. It is criminal. It's hard to even know the number of innocent people when you count Americans, Iraqis, who died because of what we did there, who lost their livelihoods, who lost their property, who were displaced and became refugees. And, I feel like that unless we come to terms with that, unless we deal with that we're trying to still, I don't know that we've ever had a fully honest sort of public conversation about this, about what people did who lied our way into that war, what people did who got it so wrong, what people did who cowed before those people and did that. I mean, this is truly, I can't, obviously you can tell I feel strongly about this. It is such a blight on the history of this country. I think, I honestly believe it. We need to come to terms at some point with what happened and what we allowed to happen there. That's what goes through my mind. Just looking back at this 10 years later, it is tragic. And to see these same people now trying to scream and warmonger with Iran, the same ones who empowered Iran by what they did in Iraq. All it takes is a little common sense to understand geostrategically what you were going to do there by removing what in the end was a balance of power, like it or not. And I mean, that these same people want to go try and do this again. Most of these people should never be allowed near a TV set. I still see things when I see people like Condoleezza Rice being added as a voice to CBS News and taken seriously. It makes me sick, quite frankly. And that's just the one that comes to mind. Throw in Wolfowitz, Rumsfeld, the whole crew, that Dick Cheney's allowed to open his mouth and criticize anyone else, including President Obama, on foreign policy and do it on TV is amazing to me. I mean, I could just go on and on. I know you don't have enough time for me to rant forever, David, so I'll leave it there. But it's disturbing and it's profoundly upsetting.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think of even like Tom Friedman, who's a notable New York Times columnist. He got it wrong. David Brooks got it wrong. Bill Kristol continues to be the sort of the oracle over at Fox News, despite everything that he got wrong. I mean, I figure like I always thought that there was a time in our nation where if you got something like this so wrong, if you were so off base, you were shamed from ever being part of sort of the media again, that you would have to essentially disappear for several years. Here, it's like, no big deal. No apologies.
Yeah. It's the reality TV culture that's infected everything we do. It just seems to me there was a period of time that being right was more important than ratings. I mean, it would have been a perfect segue from what we're talking about with Fox News into this. And then that just no longer exists. What's your Q rating? How well will you do? What kind of ratings will you get? Do the people on the right still like you? Do you have a big email list? It doesn't matter anymore, what you actually know. If you're right, if you're an expert, people are invited to expound on all sorts of issues where they have no clue what they're talking about. And you're correct. And that list goes on and on through Charles Krauthammer and George Will and the people that have these well-read columns that are still picked up by 400, 500 newspapers. It's insulting, frankly, and none of them have ever been held to account. And again, it doesn't get any more serious than this. They didn't get something slightly wrong or somewhat wrong. They got something massively wrong. There's a country that has been torn to bits in turmoil with people dead, lots and lots of people dead. And it has harmed that part of the world. It has harmed the United States' credibility. It has bled our treasury. It has bled our people. Again, it's going to be, we will look back at this as we will look back at some of the worst episodes in U.S. history. And the fact that we were here, as someone a little too young to ever know what was going on during Watergate in Vietnam, I'd only read about these kinds of things, and now I feel like over the last decade we lived them, and it's terrible.